What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome back to an episode of Found Footage Fridays, a series where we talk about found footage on a Friday with my co-host, Mike and Siri.
Hey everyone, happy Found Footage Fridays. Hope you're having a great Friday. Hope it's even better now that you're listening to us.
Well, it's time to talk more found footage on a Friday.
Yes.
A new one, newish one.
Newish one for this late this year, yeah.
Yeah,
I want to say
it came out this year.
September or October.
Okay. So we mentioned it last week. The movie we were talking about today is the 2025 found footage movie Jabberjaw. When a battered woman goes camping with a friend, a mysterious stalker in the woods makes her question if it's her abuser or something more sinister. So many things wrong with that description, I feel like, but we'll go with it for the sake of what it's listed, and it's short and concise. Okay, so you can find this on Found TV and then Fandango at Home, which is previously Voodoo.
Voodoo.
All right, well, I guess let's jump into it. Unspoiled thoughts on Jabberjaw.
All right, spoiler-free thoughts. So I'm gonna first off start with this is one that I suggested to Angel because I heard a lot of people talking about it because it's a newer one, and I even stated based off of what I'm hearing about this movie and from the description and just all the reviews that I have read, spoiler-free reviews that I've read, I told Angel, I was like, this is one I definitely want to talk about because I feel that there's no way that we're going to be on the same page with this movie. And I said, either I'm going to love it and she's not going to love it, or she's going to love it and I'm not going to love it. So I'm interested to see what happens because viewers, while I did not love it, it's going to sound like I did because I'm going to say a lot of really good things about this movie and what I got from it. We talk about found footage and where it's now come to, where it started. This for me is a very back to basics. This is what found footage was to me. It's not great. There are some sound issues in this movie.
Yes.
It's a little rough around the edges from the acting, from just a lot of little things. However, I just truly felt like this is one of the first found footage films I've ever watched. I felt that this is as close to real found footage as we can get. And I think it is because of how low budget it was, how rough around the edges it was. But I did enjoy the story. I did enjoy where it went. Were there issues along the way? Absolutely. Did I enjoy my time during this entire film? Yes, I did. Was I met with a ending that I enjoyed? Yes, I did. Did I have characters I liked? I did up until a certain point. And then I'll talk about that in the spoilers. But overall, I liked how limited this movie was. I like how low budget it was.
Yeah.
Again, for me, this hit me with a little bit of found footage nostalgia because now and I love these movies too, but we have movies like Strange Harvest, a movie that came out called Dream Eater that I haven't seen yet, but I've heard things about it, and they're a little bit more polished. They're they're better produced. There's more money into these movies, and that's great. I love it for found footage. You do get some cool visuals. You do get some cool movies out of it. But from someone who, like we've stated, I like the old school found footage movies. I loved everything about those. And this made me feel, again, quality-wise, not the same as the Blair Witch Project. I'm not going to say it the same, but it felt like the time when I was watching those types of movies. And that's what I really enjoyed about this movie.
Yeah, so this is your Muir house.
Yes.
Because that's how I felt about it, and you didn't like it.
Very true.
I felt like it was back to basics. It was simple and like, it was very, very simplistic in nature. Um, hmm. Yeah, I didn't hate this by any means. There is definitely some sound issues. There is some voiceovers that don't align with lip movements and some technical things like that that are, a little removed. But I have to say, I mean, the moments that they happen are not super serious moments in the terms of the, everything that happens. So
Yeah.
it doesn't completely take you out or anything. My pros are I really like the friendship dynamic because even though I don't really fit into either of those archetypes of a person, I felt like that friendship between those two people felt very genuine to me. And I
Absolutely.
love that we didn't get into this place where immediately they hate each other because they're panicking. Instead, it was, I'm really upset and I took it too far and I shouldn't have said that to you and I'm really sorry. And I think that might seem so small to some, but when you're a woman and you've seen female characters played like catty bitches that can't get along, no matter whether it's a crisis or something else, it's really refreshing to see female characters written as females. I think is really I really enjoyed that part of it. I think their dynamic is very cute and funny and grounded in a lot more reality than we get in a lot of other female friendships on camera. So I can't stress enough how much I appreciated that because when things got serious, they were still friends. And I
Yeah.
just think that that's more realistic than everybody trying to kill each other at the first sign of a ghost or Bigfoot or whatever, right? Anyway, so other than that, yeah, this kind of swung into some like McPherson tapes for me for a little bit. I was like, oh no, that part was a little rough. Um, the effects though for the other stuff I think was really good. They did a good job editing that and working that in. um Ultimately not my favorite. I think that the name is a bit off kilter because they reference someone else they called that, and I get where it was going, but the name sounds cooler than the concept as far as why they call it that, and that was a little bummy for me. I was like, oh, okay, I thought that was gonna be something cool. But ultimately, I also will tell you this: if my best friend was like, we're gonna, yeah, I got you, we're gonna go to this, and she pulls out a tent, I'm out. Do you understand me? I'm out. That was, but anyway, not a huge spoiler, but she does do the tent, and I'm like, girl,
I was
uh-uh.
I that part I was cracking up because,
She's
and
like, what
again,
is
yeah,
that?
it's not a spoiler, so I'll just talk about it right now real quick. Um, the main character friend, the battered woman, and we'll get into
Mhm.
that too, guys. Um,
Yeah,
she wants to get away for the weekend, so she calls her friend
yeah.
who is an influencer, it seems like. She's a streamer, and I love that part too, who answers.
She's an adult content creator though. She
Ye
leans into,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, she
the other stuff.
does
But go ahead.
do that. I love that she, pulled up the text on her live stream,
Oh my God. Yeah. She's like, oh,
and
hold on, y'all. That's my best friend.
I'm just like, "Is she just this whole text is up there for everyone to see," but
Yeah.
that made me laugh, and then she's like, "Okay, I got you. We're gonna go away," and she's like, "Oh," she's looking up rental places. "Oh, this one looks nice, $50. Let's see if we can do better than that." Well, first of all, $50 a night, we
That's
can't do better than that, okay?
that's not a thing.
If we can do better than that, we're not going.
Yeah, if the place on Airbnb or VRBO or whatever is $50, there is an active serial killer in that house. There is no
Yes.
way. Like,
So then she finds a cheaper place, and I'm like, "Oh, that cabin looks nice."
and
I
then,
instantly go into like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna have a haunted cabin situation."
yeah,
Okay. So then they pull up to the cabin, and she goes,
yeah.
"Oh, money, like, okay." And she goes, "No, we're not we're
She's
not
like,
going
get
in there."
this, and she's like, what is this? And she's like, a tent. She goes, are you for real right now? She's so mad. Oh, and then
So
she does the little starlight. Oh, I was dying. I thought that was so funny. She's
and I
trying.
laugh because when we talked about, like, the friendship dynamic and how you
Yeah,
said you don't fit into either of these, like, character archetypes,
yeah,
I don't necessarily feel that I do either.
yeah,
However, that situation and that friend made me feel like I was like, "I know 2 people who would have done
yeah.
this to me."
That's what I'm saying. It's so realistic. Like their dynamic and how they are with one another is so realistic. It's hard. Like you, like that's why like things like the sound issues and stuff. I felt were a lot easier, actually, a lot easier to ignore because you're like there for their friendship and you're like
Yeah.
trying to figure out and she's being and then she's got the whole story about why she's doing it and all that. And I think I will say like I'm not 100% sure, other than some parts we'll get into with the spoilers. I'm not 100% sure it needed to be an abuse story. I think there was probably, I don't know, like I felt like it tried to have something to say, but it just didn't quite get
Land.
there.
Yeah.
Because I
No,
can
I
tell you, like, what type of archetype I am. Okay. Any friend, don't even got to be a best friend. Somebody called me and said, I got to get away. And then I find out while we're on the getaway that somebody is, we're leaving right now. I got something to take care of. Like, that's the kind of friend I am.
yeah.
Like, I'll fight. I got no problems with that. So that part, I was like, I felt like maybe they were a little nervous to take it any further than that.
Yeah.
And then there's, like I said, there's a couple other things we'll talk about in spoilers, but
And
that was really kind of,
that's my shaky ground on this one too, because
yeah,
I do think that they had an opportunity to take that story and turn it into something with where the other stuff that we'll get into in the spoilers. I think that
yeah,
there was a good allegory in there somewhere. I think there
I
was so
agree.
much to pull from.
I
I
agree.
do think that they let it, I felt, and it felt like it was building up. I am happy with the ending for that reason,
Yeah, I know.
but I feel like there was a chunk in the middle, like, you had a strong setup, strong ending, but to get from A to Z, you guys kinda dropped the ball there.
And it's such a first of all, I'm a big fan of statement horror. I love horror
Yeah.
that's got something to say, and we'll be talking about that in next week's episode. But it has to deliver on it has to commit to it because
Mhm.
it's a touchy subject. It's a scary subject, it's an upsetting subject. And I don't necessarily need to see it all happening on
Yeah.
camera, but for her to have just had like a little bit more of I don't even know what I would be looking for specifically, but yeah, I'm with you. It had like the setup felt like the single most important part of the story.
Yes.
And then it was like not at all. And I just think that there were some little things that didn't really add up for me. That I felt like I was like, well, why would that even happen? Or like, why
Yeah.
would, so that kind of stuff. I just wish if they were going to introduce such a topic that they would commit and break it down a little further because I think statement horror can be just so good. And this was a potential for that, but it didn't, it didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I'm in rambling, sorry. But anyway, so all right, before we do spoilers, let's rate. What do you rate this?
So for me, this is, right down the middle. It is a 5 for me, and that's why I said, like, my score is not gonna fully reflect how I'm, like, gushing over
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
because it's I understand why it made me feel the way it made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
When you then take the nostalgia part out of it, you break down the actual movie, and for me, it's a solid movie. It
Mm-hmm.
can't go above a 5 because it didn't take any of the pieces that they had, the main abuse story and what we'll get into. I don't think they took any of that far enough.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So I just feel like we were left with a solid premise,
Mhm. I
but
agree.
you left me wanting way more.
Yeah. So at the beginning of this episode, you said your prediction was that this was going to be one where it was either going to be one way or the other.
Yeah.
I would also give this a 5 out of 10 takes. I think it is worth watching. I think that there are a lot of really fun things in this. There's a lot of funny moments. There's a lot of, we just talked about, in the previous episode about realism and found footage and just like, to me, I'm very all like, as much as I can appreciate gore and effects and monsters and whatever, I have to care about the people. I have to believe them. And I think this is a great example of when that is done right. The women that play our two main leads did an excellent job of making me care about them, about worrying about them as people and loving their friendship and wanting good things to happen for them. And I feel like a lot of times, especially with found footage, because it's typically lower budget, we say that all the time, it can be harder sometimes to get me personally in with the
Yeah.
characters. But these characters were funny, they were likable, they felt real. And I think that that is a large reason that it is getting the 5 from me because, ultimately it did not have a lot of what I wanted it to have. But when you're balling on a budget, you do what you can do with your films. And so here we are. But I did really like this one. I think people should be checking it out for sure. All right, let's put up our little thing. All right, let's talk about it. So the McPherson tape suits are in this film, and I genuinely was not a fan of the suits.
I didn't know that that's where we were going to start with. That's
I'm
why.
sorry.
No,
All I could picture is that little alien sticking his head out from the tree, and I went, "Oh no!"
and I love that you bring it up in that way because you and I, again, this is a movie that you discussed, and I'm happy that this is a movie that you discussed before I jumped onto the show because that episode we would have been going back and forth because I love the McPherson
Oh my
tapes, and I know
god!
you don't.
Oh my god! But you,
But I saw that costume, and I'm like, as soon as I watched this movie, I was like, Angel's gonna hate this because. So, spoiler alert, obviously, guys, this is Aliens.
yes, if you see a specific one poster, doesn't give it away, but there is another one that does.
Yeah,
It shows the asteroid looking thing coming down and the face and the hand. So it is not necessarily a massive spoiler unless you haven't seen the other poster. But yes, it's alien-ish found footage.
So that made me think it was gonna be like Angel's cup of tea. Angel loves aliens. The minute I saw the costume, I'm like, well, we're gonna have an interesting time.
Let me just say this too, though. Aside from the suits, the alien concept is pretty dope. I loved the mimicking. That was really creepy.
And that's my thing with this particular movie where I said, something like this, I hope, no offense to the director, everybody involved, but just whoever wrote this, and I'm thinking it's the director, you had a really great concept, and it is a concept that I want to see even bigger and more fully realized because when we talk about alien movies, like I'm with you. I like alien movies. I like the creature design of stuff, but I rarely see mimics. And so that was a cool change of pace for me.
That's a smart choice.
I loved that. And I just wish we would have got something bigger with this.
Yeah, so it is written and directed by the same person. It's a dude, which is surprising. No way a guy wrote this, though, and didn't have input on these characters from a woman. No way.
Well, I will say, because I saw another movie he did, and it was another like strong woman-led movie. Like, I think he does really like to center his movies around women and women's stories.
Okay.
And again,
I'm just looking at what else he's done.
I will say, I think that this was while he didn't go deep enough for me, I do think he handled the abuse storyline with care.
Yeah, that's probably why it was played safe, though, right? Because
the beginning of the movie, it got me because we start this movie off with her watching a YouTube video
On how
how
to,
to cover up a black eye. And that just, for me, and this is where it kind of made and break the movie in the same
yeah,
realm, is because, like you mentioned earlier, that scene alone set the tone of what we think the movie is going to truly be. And it didn't fully jump into it. Like,
no,
obviously, it was a center part of the
it
movie,
mattered. It's not that it
but
didn't matter. It's
as
just,
it went, it kind of felt going like behind the aliens.
yeah. Um,
Um,
yeah, and I think, you've got the conversation where he's like, I'm working on it. And a lot of that I think is rooted in real life experiences for
mhm,
people. And I think that is one of the reasons. I did have a hard shift between that and then when they connect, the two friends leave and they're being funny. It took me a little bit to kind of get, okay, ooh, out of that, like, whatever, into, but I still think, yeah, it definitely could have, I think, pushed it a little further and
yeah.
had more to say.
Well,
I get handling it with respect and being careful, but I also think that why bring it up if you're not gonna, like,
yeah. Part of
take the
care and
opportunity?
respect is telling the whole story.
Right. And I think,
So,
yeah, and instead it kind of ends up being like a funny revenge, right? Sort of.
mhm.
Yeah. Which I know
Uh,
you're probably very much excited to talk about. So
but real fast, because you did bring that up of the like
yeah.
taking where they went with the super serious, and then they went into
Oh
like
yeah.
funny, because they go straight, like it really does go straight from us finding out about she's being abused by her boyfriend, and then they go straight into we meet the friend via foot kink website. And I was like, that's, oh,
Yep.
abuse. Kinky
Yeah. It was
website.
it was a weird, like, yeah,
But
hardship.
yeah, but I think that did show us again the friendship dynamic and what I mentioned earlier. So the friend, I actually really loved her as a character
Mhm.
until, and like her acting,
Uh-huh.
until she had to be mimicked.
Oh yeah, that did kind of slow down.
And then I'm like, oh,
I
this
will
isn't a
say
favorite.
I will say my only argument to that is I thought the part outside the tent was really well done, where she's practicing and trying to sound more like herself. And she goes, hello, hi. I did think that was good. But later, when they're face to face, it did
Yeah,
kind of tank from there, because that's what the aliens are doing. They're taking over the people, they're killing them and becoming them, essentially, is what's happening. So the mimicking thing, though, I can't stress enough. Very creepy. Love, love, love that. That was very good. I loved it.
absolutely. And it also, as we get closer to the end, it
Mhm.
also made me think too, because obviously, they're mimicking. It's aliens. We know what they're essentially doing. But I
Mhm.
did start to feel, and I was like, and maybe this is a thing. Maybe I don't know enough about it. But like, I did start to feel like, is this alien like the person that they do mimic and take over? Are they feeling them a little bit? Because when we do get to the end, when the mimic's like, he hurt you, hurt him back. Like, it felt very her friend. Like,
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder. I mean, there's things probably like that where you spend so much time pretending to be someone else or trying to be that you become them, right? Like you get stuck in
yeah,
their head. I mean, we see that with actors,
yeah.
all the time. They have to go through things to get out of
Mm,
that headspace. And yeah, but well, and I thought it was funny too, because so that's what happened. So the abusive boyfriend, but this was the thing I thought was weird. She didn't turn off her location. She's like fleeing an abusive situation and she left her follow my locate or find me whatever on. I was like,
I'm wondering if that's because, like, the way I'm taking it, and I could be wrong on this point, but because like she's fleeing, but she's not fleeing. Like, she left for the weekend, but she's telling her friend, like, I'm making the steps to leave. I think had she turned off her location, had she turned off her phone, like, and do a cold disconnect, that would spark something in him. And she's like, you know what? Let me just do this getaway. If he calls, I'm going to tell him that I got away with my friend. I think it was more of a, like, I'm inching towards leaving, but I have to do everything the right way to get out of here safely. Um, that's what I think in my head happened.
I think it was the only logical way they could think to have him show up at the end of the movie.
That's definitely probably the correct answer.
I say this because I know people who have been in these situations.
Yeah.
The slow leave can cost you your life. And it's really important to like separate, like, okay, if this was real life, right?
Yeah.
Turn your location off and do not go back alone under any circumstances. I don't care what you think. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It can cost you your life. So when he was like, I got your location, I'm like, bitch, you didn't turn your location off. But I think it's to get him there to the end, because in the end, he
But
shows
also
up at the
remember
cabin.
too, towards when they first make like their first stop, she picks up his call.
Yeah.
And she tells him that she's getting, so that's why I'm like, I think all of this was specific to her character too, because like you said, if you were doing this the way that we know in real life people would do, you would break that contact and you're disappearing. You're playing a disappearing act. I think she answered the phone. Obviously, she's going to leave the location on as well. Again, I do think you are, if mine could possibly be correct, yours is definitely correct. Either way, even if mine is or isn't, yours is correct, because at the end of the day, that is the only logical way to make it make sense for him to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he shows up at the end, banging and acting like banging on the door, acting like a lunatic. And the friend that's now actually an alien is like, she's asked who that is, and she's like, and the friend that's still herself says, well, you need a host. You said you wanted somebody, take him. And then she's like, oh, she's like, humans are so interesting, and you would do that. And she's like, well, he's hurt me. Yeah. And so she goes and opens the door, and that's how the movie ends, pretty much.
Yeah, that's how it ends. I do wish we got to see a little bit, but I do like the ambiguity, because we know what this means.
Yeah.
Like, we know what they're going to do. So maybe it's good that we didn't see it. Because it was I liked the ending. It did have a nice impact.
I did like it too.
Because I was like, yes.
I would have also accepted her killing him, and then the alien being like, no, we'd still like to take you, but you're welcome for like handling. That's the problem.
That would have been good too.
But no, I did like the ending. And that's kind of what we were saying about the fact that it does come back as this sort of like moment to get back at him for whatever. But yeah, it was the theme of it, to me, I felt like more of the focal point was the friendship. Yeah. And which is not a negative, by the way, because as mentioned, I love the friendship. The friendship is a huge, huge part of why this movie worked to begin with. Oh, so the Jabberjaw thing, we didn't even address. So the reason they had this like kid that they knew in high school or something that talked a lot and got on their nerves, and they called him Jabberjaw. Well, because the aliens do the same thing and they keep talking and making noises, they think, oh, Jabberjaw. I know. I was a little disappointed in that too. But it's fine, because I liked a lot of other things about
the name sounds so cool.
So cool.
It sounds so cool. So then when you're waiting to understand why this movie's called this, and I'm not gonna lie, it is one of the biggest letdowns.
It was.
Because until we started talking about it during this episode, it wasn't clicking for me why this movie's called Jabberjaw, even though I'm like, I heard them reference it, so okay, but it still didn't connect. And I'm like, that's a terrible name for this movie.
It sounded like a stretch, like I don't know, like maybe it was really hard to name the movie. And but I think Jabberjaw sounds so cool. And what I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's not that it's not that it doesn't make sense. It just wasn't as cool as I personally wanted it to be.
Not like that. It should have had a different name. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
It
I wish it
should
had
have
had
had a different.
something different, but maybe it wouldn't have sounded as intriguing. I don't know. I did like this one though. I did like this one. More than I probably thought I would based on the first like 5 minutes of it. I was like, I don't know about this, but I did really like it. So
Yeah, because I said I'm very surprised that we both, and we neither one of us truly loved it, but we
yeah,
definitely didn't hate it.
no,
I like that we're both in like it was good enough for us to recommend it to people, but we have to let you know, yes, there were flaws throughout this movie.
yeah.
But I had a good time with this movie. I think it's something worth watching in itself, especially if you, again, like how I mentioned earlier, if you want to see a found footage film that really feels like an older found footage film,
Hmm.
I think this is a good movie to watch for that.
Yeah. It is a very simple concept for sure, as terms of location and filming, but I still think it also gave nods to newer things. I mean, she's recording on her computer
Well, yeah.
in the beginning, and then she's got the camera on herself to film her abuser. I don't know that it feels very back to basics, like you said, but there are these things about it that also take it to like modern found
Yes,
footage, which
definitely.
is, a good thing as well. Not a
Yeah.
complaint by any means. So
Yeah.
well, cool. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our episode on Jabberjaw. Next week, we will be talking a very long overdue one that came out.
Something lighthearted. Just kidding. It's not.
It's not at all. It's MOM, Mother of Monsters. If you have not seen this is a really great psychological found footage. You can watch it streaming on, what was it streaming on? Dang.
Found TV.
It is on Found?
Yes. Mother of
Oh,
Monsters is on Found.
I didn't know that.
Um,
I think I was looking at it on something else.
I know it's
Tubi,
usually on Tubi. It's all
Pluto.
over the place.
Oh, Amazon. It's on Amazon with a if you have a subscription to Amazon, you can watch it on Amazon. Oh, hilarious. One of the recommended was a movie I hated. I didn't like that, but I did like this one. So anyway, so we'll be talking about Mom next week. So if you want a chance to watch that beforehand, I do definitely check it out because it's very different from probably anything else that we've ever covered so far. So I'm excited to jump into that one. So all right, cool. Well, thank you guys again for hanging out with us on this Found Footage Friday. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy your week that follows, and we will see you next week.